with the connection with the Falkland Wars and Deception Island, just north of Antarctica. You get a little bit of a close-up. And this is Deception Island here. Let's look at the relative closeness, if I can find it here. The tip of South America. Let's look at the Falklands. Now, going back in time to the Falkland Wars in 1982, as I've stated many times, the world is a stage. What was the Falkland Wars all about? And I believe, again, this is just a strategic point, the closest point to Antarctica, to the ring. Of all the continents, this is basically their base. I'm just taking a look at the UK overseas territories, and I find it pretty interesting. Like I said, with the Falklands, you have the South Georgia Islands, and they have this territory in red as part of their territory. Again, this is the strategic point. Talking about the royal family, the so-called elite that run this world, that own this world. Take a look at the U.S. Of course, you have New York. New York is in England. New Hampshire. You go to Australia even. It's still owned and controlled by England. Don't let them fool you and make you believe they're independent and sovereign. The New South Wales, Queensland. Of course, all the territories in Africa that the royals own. Now let's take a look at this when it comes to Russia. So again, when I talk about the royal family owning it all, you see the connection with the royal family and Russia, going back in time with the Romanovs, and again taking a look at the UK overseas territories. Basically, they all should be marked red. Here's something I found interesting, of course, with the Scottish Rite and Freemasonry of the UK. Take a look at the Russian coat of arms. You see the similarities and how people can't see how they all connect and how the world is a stage. Now, getting back on topic with Deception Island, let's just take a look at this image here. This unusual island. Let's take a look. It used to be a whalers' colony, and I found this pretty interesting. Let's take a little close-up look at this. What do you see? A little Illuminati pyramid, and these look like obelisks. So what's the deal with this? This is pretty interesting stuff. Now, taking a look at Wikipedia's page on Deception Island, which I find pretty interesting, and you get bit down to the history of it, where it states in the history the first authenticated sighting of Deception Island was by British sealers William Smith and Edwards Bransfield. This was back in January 1820. And we talk about the explorer, the American sealer Nathaniel Palmer. And I found this pretty interesting. In November of 1820, Palmer remained for 2 days exploring the Central Bay. Palmer was the first to name the island Deception. And interesting enough, there's no official explanation why they call it Deception Island. I find that very interesting. Like I've stated, we live on a flat earth, and this is part of the deception. The closest point, this island, to Antarctica, which is the ring around the world. So you can forget about the supposed Antarctica Treaty from back in 1961. The world's a stage. It's owned and controlled by the bloodline. Just take a look at the occult of this Antarctica Treaty meeting from back in 2007. You got the triple X's, like I said before in Pythagorean numerology. This is a hidden code for 666. And again, you look at the dates here. On the 30th to the 11th. In numerology, the 0 doesn't mean anything. You get 3 and 11. This is the cult of Freemasonry. The highest degree in the Scottish Rite of 33, of course. As I mentioned, the double-headed eagle. Some call it a phoenix. To me, it doesn't matter. It's all the same here with Russia as well. Again, going back here, like I said, only these supposed UK overseas territories are marked red. Forget about this. They own and control it all. Like I stated with Australia, you got New South Wales, you have Queensland, you have Russia, the connection with the Romanov family, you have India, of course. England had a huge role in India. You had all the territories in Africa. Get to the United States with, of course, District of Columbia. Columbia being a Masonic goddess. You have British Columbia in Canada. You have the country of Colombia in South America. And then you come to the gateway From Falkland Islands to South Georgia, Deception Island, like I stated, this is the gateway to the Antarctic edge. And as always, they leave the truth in plain sight, just as you see with this movie title, The Antarctic Edge. And obviously, for those that know anything about the flat earth, the 360 ice wall. And also biblically, where it states over 50 times how there are ends to the earth. And for anybody that denies what the Bible states, if you're a Bible believer, here in Job 26:10, he hath compassed, this is regarding the Creator, the waters with bounds, until the day and night come to an end. Like I said earlier, they leave all truths in plain sight for those that have eyes to see.
John chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see. Now I can see.